Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Multiverse Dungeon podcast, where nothing is off limit in the world of sports and everything nerd. Here with me, of course, myself, Shawn Hicks, Mike Charlip, and Sean Barry over there in the glasses. Today, we're going to be talking none other than NXT TakeOver San Antonio. I'm going to give it right over to Mike Charlip, who's going to tell us more about the card and what he thought.
Alright, well, we started off with a singles match between Ty Dillinger and Eric Young of the new group in NXT called Sanity. Ty Dillinger had been in NXT for quite a while and didn't really need the win as much as Eric Young did. The group hasn't really gotten off to the best start, so they needed a strong showing from their leader, obviously, to get them going somewhere. I thought this was a pretty good match back and forth. A lot of, spots in the match that were pretty good. The group was getting involved in the match mostly, and Ty Dillinger was trying to fight them off the majority of the match, and to no avail. So, obviously not the only thing that he did this weekend, but we'll get into that. So all in all, I thought that was a pretty good match. Second match was Roderick Strong versus Andrade Cien Almas. This match was another one, kind of very back and forth. It was very hard hitting, a lot of trading signature moves. Roderick Strong hadn't really had a big showing in NXT yet to this point, so it was a win that he needed more than Andrade. He's been in NXT for a little while and still needs some work. I mean, he doesn't speak very good English, so that's not helping him. But the match is very good, and like I said, Roderick Strong had a good showing and he needed the win to solidify his presence in NXT after being in ROH for almost 14 years. So, there, the first title match of the night, and in my opinion, the best match on the card, was the tag team title match. DIY, Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano, defending against the Authors of Pain. I forget what their names are. Like a common Razor or something like that.
Something to that extent. Yeah.
The match was, like I said, for me, the best match of the night. A lot of people didn't really pick the Authors of Pain to get the win, because I thought maybe it was too early for them to take the titles off of DIY already after they just got them. But I guess they really want to give these guys, the Authors of Pain, a good upbringing, like in the company, since they're new to wrestling, and they want to groom them to be, monsters with the tag team. DIY is already established wrestlers. They've been in NXT for over a year or so. So, like I said, best match of the night in my opinion. Moved on to the favorite four-way for the women's title, which had Asuka defending against Peyton Royce, Billie Kay, and Nikki Cross of Sanity. This match I thought was a good match. It had its spots in the match. I thought maybe Nikki Cross didn't really do too much in the match. I expected more from her. And Peyton Royce and Billie Kay were teaming together the whole time, even though it was a fatal four-way. But all in all, it was a good match, and I got the result I expected, which was Asuka retaining. I don't think Asuka's going to lose the title for a while. They're trying to build up other talent, and probably when they have a takeover for WrestleMania weekend, I can see that happening. And the final match was Bobby Roode versus Shinsuke Nakamura with the NXT Championship. This match was very, very good at the beginning, and they decided to do a injury angle towards the end, which kind of slowed down the momentum from that. They seem to be doing that a lot in title matches for some reason in NXT, and I don't know why. They did the same thing in pretty much every Samoa Joe Finn Balor match, except for that one time where Samoa Joe got busted up so bad that they wouldn't let him continue until the bleeding stopped. It was very annoying. But this match was, like I said, it was good for what it was, and I actually did not expect Bobby Roode to win the way that he did, but he did. So we have a new NXT champion. For me, anyway, I thought the card was a solid card. The match, all five matches were pretty good. Hicks, what did you think of the show as a whole, since you also got to witness?
I liked the show. I'm going to disagree with you, though. My favorite match was the the Fatal 4-Way for the Women's Division title. I thought that one had a little bit more action to it. Interesting point of view for that match. We had Peyton Royce and Billie Kay, and then we had Nikki Cross and Asuka. Peyton and Billie, to me, it feels like they put what women's wrestling used to be and what women's wrestling is working up to in the same match. We had Peyton and Billie, two prissy little girls who don't really want to get their hands dirty, against Nikki Cross and Asuka, two badass bitches who are just looking to go out there and kick some ass. So that's where I feel with that. Two girls dolled up and two girls ready to fight. Like I said, just different eras in women's wrestling combining here. The Authors of Pain, I think, that was a big upset. Bobby Roode as well, but as we know in NXT, if you lose the title, one of two things could happen. You could either be called up to the main card, or you're just going to be feuding with that team or singles person for that much longer. As we saw, we had one surprise entry in the Royal Rumble, which we'll be talking about next. But before that, I want to give Barry his chance to express his thoughts on NXT TakeOver.
Well, I didn't get the chance to watch it from, but what I hear, though, I pretty much know the wrestlers of NXT. And I can probably agree with Hicks with the best match, probably the Women's Fatal 4 and the main event, of course, because I have been a huge Bobby Roode fan for quite a while, since he was in TNA with Beer Money. He was just great. That was a great tag team. But even as a singles competitor, he's still a good wrestler, and I hope for someday soon we will get to see him in the main roster too, alongside with Shinsuke Nakamura.
Well, I think the quickest we ever saw somebody graduate NXT was Finn Balor, and I don't know if Bobby Roode's quite there. We might see him for a little bit longer. But the first thing Mike could tell you, I saw the guy come out, and I was like, man, this guy wants to be Ric Flair really bad.
And my response to that was, why? Was it the robe?
The robe is exactly Ric Flair. But I don't want to dwell too much on Bobby Roode. He did put on a good performance. I thought there was some weird chemistry between him and Nakamura, but overall I was satisfied with the match. I'd give it like a 3 out of 5, whereas I'd give the Fatal 4-Way a 4 out of 5.
Yeah, I could agree on that. Like I said, the injury angle in that match kind of ruined it for me. I mean, I wanted it to be a lot better than it actually was.
I was expecting a much higher paced match, but...
Yeah, well, again, like, usually when you slow down a match like that, with an injury angle that was so obvious that it wasn't real.
Right.
Mainly because, you wouldn't continue working on the injured body part if it was real. So,
Yeah.
it just the pace of the match was ruined by that, and that, like I said, that seems to happen a lot for some reason.
I don't know, I guess they feel it might add some more realism to the fights, but to me it just seems like it just puts a big hold on the match, a big momentum breaker there.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it's one thing if someone actually does get hurt, but to run it as a work, it doesn't, I don't always agree with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it works sometimes and sometimes it doesn't. In this case, I kind of was like iffy about the spot because obviously Nakamura was playing it up very well, which is good because you obviously need to be able to sell that. But at the same time, they kind of let it drag for the amount of time that he took with the doctor showing up during the match.
Dwelling on this, it makes me think back of probably one of the most intense injuries we've seen on a NXT takeover or NXT in general is when Brodus Clay knocked Neville's 2 front teeth out.
Yeah, that did happen.
And now we see where Brodus Clay is. He's even no longer with the company.
Yeah, he's...
I miss the Funky Floyd.
It's funny, they kept the Funkadactyls longer than they kept Brodus Clay. Naomi was one of the Funkadactyls, and she's like now one of the top stars.
Yeah, and she's expected to get a title opportunity soon on SmackDown, so...
Yeah.
She's the only one out of the 3 who really knew how to wrestle anyway.
Yeah. But, you know, there it is. All right, so should we move over to the Royal Rumble now, or?
Yeah, sure. Let's go on to the Royal Rumble, and I mean, should we discuss the pre-show? I mean, there was a title match on the pre-show.
Yeah, I was deliberating, but I think the pre-show plays one important part in the Rumble, so I think we have to talk about it.
Yeah.
All right. The first match we got was the 6-woman tag match, which saw a team of all faces. Becky Lynch, Nikki Bella, and Naomi facing off against the SmackDown Women's Champion, Alexa Bliss, Mickie James in her first match back on the main roster.
Unfortunately, it was a pre-match. It was a pre-show match.
Yeah. And, Natalya, sorry.
Natalya.
The thing that I was upset about that was the fact that, we'll get into when we talk about the main card, but there was a lot more time on the main card when it was over, where they could have put one of these matches on the main card. Preferably the one that was for a title.
Yeah.
But, anyway, the match itself, I expected the heels to win, but I guess since Naomi's probably going to be next in line for the set title match, obviously, and the match itself was a pretty good match for what it was. You don't always expect multi-person matches to be great. I mean, it was good for what it was. Everybody got their opportunity to do something, except Nikki Bella, who only did a spear and punched Natalya in the face a couple of times. So all in all, that match was good for what it was. The next match was the Raw Tag Team title match, which saw the team of Sheamus and Cesaro lose the titles to the Club, Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson. And I think this was a long time coming. I never really wanted Cesaro and Sheamus to be a team in the first place, because Cesaro should be on his own, and Sheamus. So
Yeah.
it's just I don't like when they.
I think Cesaro needs a fucking real title.
We have nothing for you to do right now, so we're just gonna put you with somebody else who has nothing to do. Like, they were feuding after SummerSlam on, and then they decided to do that. And I just was kind of unhappy about that, because I want Cesaro to do a lot more than he's doing.
Yeah, I think Cesaro and Sheamus definitely both have a lot more potential when they're working solo action than when they're working in a tag team. I can definitely agree with you guys on that one.
More so Cesaro, because Sheamus has been there already.
Absolutely.
Sheamus has been champion. He's been mid-card champion. He's been a multiple tag champion, I think, once or twice. So he's done a lot already.
Good rivalries.
Yeah, he's had some good feuds over the years, but I'm more concerned about Cesaro, because Cesaro is, in my opinion, out of the two, the total package, and should be already a world champion. So
Yeah.
I really want him to move on from this. I don't know if they're going to get a title rematch or whatever. But we'll see what happens with that. The Club finally getting the tag titles was, in my opinion, long overdue. I thought they were going to be the ones to take them from the New Day, when the New Day had that record-breaking title reign.
Right.
But they didn't really book the Club very well after the draft, which is not surprising. But they're finally the champions, which like I said, I'm very happy about, and I want to see them carry the division for a while.
Yeah, I mean, they really lost face once really they separated them from AJ. They kind of like didn't know what to do with them after that.
Yeah, well, because the problem ever since the draft is that Raw has been horrible, and SmackDown has been amazing, and Raw does not know how to. Whoever's running Raw as opposed to whoever's running SmackDown, whether it's Vince McMahon on both shows or somebody's doing something differently on SmackDown, whatever they're doing on Raw is not working.
Right.
And talent are paying for that, and they were two of the guys that were paying for that. You can have more than one tag team rivalry going on. That's not an issue, especially when your show is 3 hours.
Right. You can have multiple rivalries going on, even if like one is going for the runner-up, the first contender, and one's going for the tag title.
Exactly. And they weren't really doing that on Raw, and still kind of aren't.
Mm-hmm.
Where teams and people who don't have championships are not really doing anything that are not feuding for a title. And that's a problem. So I'm glad that they're finally champion, and we'll see what happens. Hopefully they have a lengthy reign. I don't want to see them like lose them right away, like another team that was on SmackDown. But so moving on from that, the last pre-show match was Sasha Banks versus Nia Jax, and this feud started right after the
Barry's already shaking his head.
Sasha Banks feud ended, where Sasha was selling injury and all that, and Nia Jax being giant to come out.
9 of Jax.
9 of Jax.
Yeah, fair.
That's my nickname. I have to give it a nickname. There's a lot of wrestlers.
So ever since then,
too.
Sasha has just been the culprit of attacks from Nia Jax, and they've been playing up the fact that Sasha is tiny and Nia is not. And obviously we saw that in the result of the match. So again, this was kind of a very predictable match because they're not going to have Nia Jax going into the match, destroying Sasha every chance she gets, and then for her to lose. Even though she has lost before on the main roster, she lost.
Squash match? Yeah. Definitely squash match.
It was a horrible squash match, though.
Oh yeah, it was a squash.
I mean, even for a WrestleMania pre-show match, it's just not even worth the time.
Right, I think that they could have swapped this one out for a pre-show match, absolutely.
They could have easily did that match on Raw.
Yeah.
Not at a pay-per-view.
Well, they had the same match on Raw the next day.
Exactly. That's my point. They had a rematch and the same exact thing happened.
Exactly.
So they're playing up to... I know where it's going to go. They're playing up to Sasha Banks eventually turning on Bayley, which obviously has been done before in NXT.
Yep, in NXT.
But, so, I don't know where it's going to go from here, obviously. I don't know what Sasha's going to do in that time. I don't know if they're going to, like, feud into Fastlane and then get, like, a title match with all 4 women. But, that seems to be where it's going. And hopefully, in my opinion, Bayley comes out the victor in that.
Yeah.
Because Nia Jax is just kind of giant and hasn't really had any more feuds other than this one on the main roster to be ready for a title run, in my opinion. I feel like she needs to be chopped down, as a competitor before she becomes a champion. We don't always need to have these dominant people winning, and then getting a title, and then losing the title as their biggest, loss. Like I said, she's already gotten a loss on the main roster. She lost to Bayley on Raw.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how Bayley got her title opportunity in the first place.
Yeah.
So, we'll see what happens with that, obviously, but this match kind of, in my opinion, didn't need to happen.
I don't see anybody walking out of Mania the women's champion outside of Charlotte and Bayley. I don't see that happening. I see either Charlotte or Bayley walking away with Mania with the title.
Yeah, I think. Well, I think that's the plan right now is for Bayley to continue chasing title like Daniel Bryan did, and like people telling her like, oh, you can't be champion, you can't do this, and so I can totally see that as to where it's going, and it's bound to happen. I mean, Bayley is a fan favorite. Bayley basically is the women's division's Daniel Bryan, from back then. So, your opinion on the pre-show matches?
I mean, I like the pre-card show. I mean, I wasn't a big fan of the 6-man tag because the only ones in there who really had a rivalry were Natalya and Nikki, because Nikki caught Natalya talking smack or whatever. So that was an iffy match. Like I said, that if there was anything, I would have put the title match on the main card. Switch that with I mean, you can't have both female matches on the pre-show card, but at the same time, Nia Jax versus Sasha Banks wasn't that great. There is one idea I had to try to maybe save the club, because there's one current indie superstar that they're thinking of bringing up to the main roster, and that's Adam Cole. They're thinking about bringing in Adam Cole, and I think he might be a good maybe fit to try to save the club in WWE, but that's speculation right now.
Yeah, we don't know if he's ever even going to sign with WWE. I mean, he said that he would if the opportunity was available at the time, he might, but he's probably going to start in NXT.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. Like, to me, the club, they just seem like bodyguards. Like, they seem like they kind of need somebody to take their helm. Like, we've seen people like Finn Balor in the past run them. We've seen, like what they've done before and after AJ Styles in the WWE. And Adam Cole, he's part of the indie group called the Bullet Club, which, if you know indie wrestling, you know the Bullet Club, and that's where WWE is taking the club from. So, like, someone like Adam Cole could come up and easily revitalize the club, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, that is a possibility. Sorry. In the future, yes, if he ever signs with WWE, but as of right now that they finally have the titles, they will be done correctly, I hope. They've been looking strong in the matches recently since.
Yeah. I like the club. I'm happy they have the titles. I just think they need a little bit more personality. But that's about it.
Definitely.
I could, because they try to stay away from gimmicky characters, because this isn't 1995 anymore.
Right.
But at the same time, like, I feel like they're kind of just trying to be themselves, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I like the realism of their characters.
Okay.
So I'm as of right now, I'm okay with what they're doing as long as they are like being booked strongly, like they are right now.
Okay.
So we're gonna go into the main card now. The first match on the main card was the Raw Women's title. Charlotte defending against Bayley, and Charlotte got the win because, like I said earlier, I think they're going towards Bayley getting her big title win at Mania. I think most of us expected it to go that way. The way it ended, though, was kind of abrupt and kind of, I thought maybe the match would go a little longer. They definitely had enough time to make it longer. But it wasn't a horrible match. It just wasn't their best, in my opinion.
Okay.
I say an average.
I think it's gonna get better over time, obviously, because the feud is gonna keep building and get more personal, I think.
And the more they work with each other, the better they'll be as well, because they'll be getting used to working with one another in the ring. So the longer this feud gets on, the better it can only be.
Well, the two of them have been working together for quite a while, for over 3 years, almost four now, where they have chemistry, obviously. Like, they know how to work with each other. It's just that they weren't given enough time.
Yeah, because I feel Bailey looked a little lost in the ring. Like Charlotte knew what she was doing, but like some of the things that Bailey was coming up with just didn't strike me as amazing. I guess you could say.
Well, yeah, like I said, it wasn't their best match.
Yeah.
I think both women are very good performers. It's just that this match, I think they were pressed for time with everything else that was going on, and they thought they were not going to have a lot of time on the show, and that was probably the one match that was like, all right, this is going to be the short one.
All right. Fair enough.
In my opinion, I don't know if that's true or not, but it's the way it felt. So the next match on the card was actually the Universal title match, which I was surprised this one was as early as it was. A lot of times they don't really, if they have a conjoined show like Raw and SmackDown, like the Royal Rumble, and Mania and SummerSlam, etc., they usually don't have back-to-back title matches, and since there was only 4 other matches other than the Rumble, I guess they wanted to spread the title matches out. But I thought this was a great match. It was they used the no DQ rule to a great extent in the match. I thought they had a lot of good spots in the match. And the person who won, Kevin Owens, I expected him to win. I don't think they're looking to give Roman Reigns any titles at the moment. The only thing that I will say is that even though I see them feuding probably into Fastlane, I don't really like it when a good match is ruined by interference.
Yeah, I was liking that match too, and then the ending was just like, why was that hated?
Yeah, Braun Strowman comes in and costs Roman Reigns the match, and the problem with that is that they were building this matchup as to Kevin Owens needs. The problem with the match, obviously, is that the last couple of months in general, really, is ever since Kevin Owens has become champion, that they've been booking him exactly the wrong way, in my opinion. I mean, when he first came into the main roster, he made a statement by attacking John Cena and beating John Cena the first time they got in the ring with him by himself. And ever since he became champion with Triple H's help, he hasn't been able to defend the title without Jericho's help. And in this case, Jericho and Braun Strowman.
Yeah.
So I wish that they would have booked Kevin Owens as champion the way they booked him when he first came in.
Just dominant.
I'm tired of them making good wrestlers like Kevin Owens and like Seth Rollins into cowardly heels. Why can't we have more sadistic heels? Why can't we have more heels that do stuff on their own?
More like if Kevin Owens had the persona right now as Neville.
Yeah, that is a good example. Ever since Neville came back and is a heel, he's been more vicious and more not the way he was the past 5 years. He's the exact opposite of what he was the last 5 years, and I love that. But I don't understand why Kevin Owens, of all people, has to be booked like this. It's really annoying, and he's probably it's not right. It doesn't feel right.
I mean, you had him even on NXT against Finn Balor, a fucking demonic face, the face of even a possible future face of Raw, beating him out, and now that's.
Yeah, I don't know what they're doing in that aspect. I don't know why we can't have a heel champion that can do stuff on their own.
On a positive though, with this match, I feel it was good. I mean, they took
match, though.
Yeah, on a positive side, it was a great match. What they're doing with Kevin Owens' character, maybe not so great, but the match overall was really great.
Oh, yeah, exactly. I got off on a little
tangent,
rant,
but that's fine. The whole Shark Tank idea is cool. That's another idea they're bringing up from NXT. They used that in a match prior on NXT, but it's very interesting.
Yeah, they used that during the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic because apparently Paul Ellering needed to be put in that cage because he was getting involved in author of pain matches, even though that wasn't true. He was kind of just standing there like a manager's supposed to,
right?
And not getting involved in the matches. So it kind of didn't make sense for that one, but I did it. And not to take anything away, I don't care what anybody says. Roman Reigns had a good match.
I would agree with that. I would
But
agree with that.
He always has good matches, but don't tell him Mark, who doesn't know shit about the company. You know? Oh, Roman Reigns is not the guy I want to win because Vince likes him and not me.
Hashtag not my champion gonna protest.
I can't stay. I'm just gonna say I'm not gonna go off on a tangent or anything. I'm just gonna say I can't stand when, even though you might not like the guy, he just had a great match.
Yeah.
Yep.
Roman Reigns is getting the John Cena treatment by the fans, where John Cena went through that whole aspect where all the fans hated him as well because he was doing everything. And it's just unfortunate that Roman Reigns is getting that treatment. I think he's a great ability, great talent. Ever since they parted ways with the Shield, it just seems like the fans have turned on him specifically. I don't know why. Well, actually, I do know why. It's the John Cena effect. I said that earlier, but it's just weird how he's the one being singled out.
Yeah, I mean, obviously he could be booked better, but at the same time, just because you don't like the way he's being booked, doesn't mean that he's not working hard.
Yeah.
Obviously, he's doing something right, which the company cares enough to want to keep trying to get him there.
Yeah.
You know, Vince McMahon doesn't just pick people because he likes them. He picks people because he thinks they deserve to be there.
Right.
So, obviously, he's doing something right, and the only problem is that just because the fans that are not us didn't decide, oh, we want this guy to win, that they gotta boo him even though he puts on a good match.
Right.
It's aggravating. But, so, yeah, the match itself, again, was very good. And I think we all agree on that.
Yeah. Solid 4 out of 5 stars.
So, moving on from that, the next match was the Cruiserweight title match. And,
Barry's very happy about this one.
The biggest problem, this match, it was very good, but again, the biggest problem I've had with this division is the fact that they haven't had a title reign that's been longer than like a month and a half. The division's been around for a couple of months now, and we've already had 4 champions. I don't think that's a very good thing.
No.
Not prestigious.
TJ Perkins
Not building any status.
TJ Perkins won the title for winning the Cruiserweight Classic tournament, which was flawless. Then he lost the title almost immediately to Brian Kendrick, who lost the title almost immediately to Rich Swann. Only for Rich Swann to lose it at the Royal Rumble.
To Neville.
To Neville, who was being booked as a stronger heel than Brian Kendrick ever was. So, in my opinion, Neville needs to hold this title for at least 5 months. At least.
Build up a good rivalry with Swan or interchange opponents, but we need one long-reigning champion to give the belt some prestige.
Yeah, to do something with the division. I mean, because they're ruining it on Raw.
Right.
To the point where they're probably just going to take it off of Raw and just have them have their own show, which is fine. It's perfect that way. Because it's kind of stupid that they put the Cruiserweight division on Raw and they think, oh, you know what, let's just change the color of the ropes for the Cruiserweight matches only.
That would be smart. Give them their own show and then do one match per pay-per-view.
Yeah, exactly. And they are technically they already have their own show. It's just that they don't need to be on Raw taking up segments if they're not going to be handled correctly.
Right.
In my opinion, I mean, Neville. I feel like Neville was above this. In my opinion, at the same time, like, we kind of needed somebody like him, especially in the character that he has now. That is to save the division.
Yeah. I think he's great for it. I think he's perfect for it, to be honest.
Yeah, he is.
I'm actually really happy with that move.
Yeah, like I said, I don't love it because I feel like he was above that already. I feel like he could have been in U.S. title, division, at least. He should have been there already, in my opinion. Like, ever since he left NXT, they've literally been doing nothing with him. So, this is the first time that they're really doing something with him. He has the right character. He's cocky, he's brash. He's the character he needs to be. Because he was going nowhere with the superhero, I love the fans gimmick that he had going on, where he literally had no character at all. So, I'm very happy with that, but he needs to hold the title for a long time. And just roll with it. Exude some dominance in the division. Like, he calls himself King of the Cruiserweights, so make that a reality. Make him a long-running champion, and have somebody built up to the point where somebody who is so, like, over with the fans as a good guy finally comes in and beats him.
I mean, Neville's got the look for it. If you've seen him in that match, he was jacked. I mean, he looked more dominant physically than Rich Swann. So, sorry to cut you off there. I just wanted to interject.
Oh yeah, no, it's no problem. And you're correct, because even though Rich Swann is a great wrestler, pretty much everybody in the Cruiserweight division is a great wrestler.
I agree with that.
The problem is that a lot of them, especially, do not have really any kind of character going on. Rich Swann is just a guy who dances. I mean, they never ever forget to tell you about his backstory.
Right.
And I feel for him. He lost his parents at a very young age, and wrestling saved his life. But that isn't really helping his character.
Right.
It's kind of just, hey, look at me, I'm a wrestler now, kind of thing. And he dances.
Yeah. It's like reminding us every week that, yeah, Sami Zayn looks Irish. He comes out with this Irish hat. It's not something you need to say. It's something you know about him. It's something you can put on the back burner. What's up?
I said even though he's Arab Canadian.
Right, but he's got that look. He's got the red beard. He's got the Irish cap on. He's got his look. It's not something you constantly need to point out or comment on.
Well, that's a commentary flaw.
Right. That's what I'm trying to say. You don't need to say every week, "Oh, he lost his parents," like he forgot.
Yeah. And us as fans are not stupid, and we're not gonna forget that.
Right.
So I feel like even though I was happy that he became champion, at the same time, Brian Kendrick didn't do anything with the belt after he won it, except lose it to Rich Swann. And they were building him as a good heel. And I, again, don't know what was going on there. Even T.J. Perkins. T.J. Perkins, obviously, going into the Cruiserweight Classic, nobody expected anybody but Kota Ibushi to win. Because Kota Ibushi was the guy that was brought in from New Japan or whatever. Everybody else was an indie talent. But Kota Ibushi was probably the biggest name out of everybody. The only reason he didn't win is because he didn't want to sign with the company. So, for somebody like T.J. Perkins, who spent most of his career in ROH and TNA, to come in kind of unknown to WWE fans, and to win, why would you take the title off of him after a month?
I guess they're just not confident in the direction they want to go with the cruiserweights. That's the only thing I could say.
Well, I think that's on Vince McMahon, unfortunately.
Yeah, he's never been too great on small guys. I think this is more Triple H's doing that we're getting a lot of more smaller talent, but that's my speculation.
So anyway, the match itself was a very good match. It was very, and there was history in the match, obviously, because Neville, and Rich Swann had a history of working together in New Japan and working together on the Indies, and Neville being like a mentor to him. So it worked out a lot more than it did for Brian Kendrick and T.J. Perkins. But the match itself was a great match, and it ended the way I expected it to end. Like, again, it's unfortunate that they haven't been able to really get behind one of these guys to hold the title for a long time, but Neville needs to be that guy.
Yeah.
So, moving on from that, in my opinion, the best match on the entire card, and this includes the Royal Rumble, AJ Styles versus John Cena. This is the third time that they faced off in a singles match, and it was possibly better than their match at SummerSlam. I don't know if Barry will agree with me, because me and him were...
I don't know. To be honest, I see a difference in Cena now, but I'm not saying this because I'm not a huge John Cena fan. I'll admit it. I liked him way better than in the aggressive era, in his original gimmick, but it just seems like I don't know, like, I liked it, but I didn't. There's certain things that were predictable within the match that I saw, which I knew was going to happen, and then there were certain things that just flopped out of nowhere during the match that I enjoyed. But I don't know, I say overall, when I saw it at SummerSlam, I think I said I gave it a 3, and I'll pretty much give it a 3 again for this time.
Is that 5?
Yeah.
Out of 5.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's fine. In my opinion, I felt like the match was, the pace of the match was perfect. Every move that they were pulling out, whether it was new or something they do all the time, everything was gelling together. There was psychology in the match. There was, everything, in my opinion, was working in the match. There was not, to me, not a single flaw. I mean, I wouldn't say it's the best match ever.
No. It's not a perfect match, but it was good.
Well, the only other thing I could point out during that match is that I definitely could have wished and seen AJ Styles pull more high-flying stuff out like he used to. It seemed like he was more holding himself back a little bit.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think they were... It felt like they were trying to do was trying to mold their styles together to the point where, they didn't want John Cena to do too much of this and AJ to do too much of that.
Right.
So I could see what they were doing. At the same time, like, I just felt like every spot that they, every big moment of the match was great, in my opinion. I like that AJ kicked out of the AA off the top rope.
That was pretty cool.
That Styles hit the Styles Clash, 3 times or 2 times?
I think it was 2. I think the third one was interrupted or counted, but I think he got it twice.
Yeah.
Yeah, he hit it twice, and John Cena kicked out of both of them, and you wanted it, you felt like it was going to be, that was the end.
I wasn't more excited at any point in this match than when AJ Styles put the STF on John Cena. Because you're sitting there going to me, no one's going to make Cena tap with his own move, and I was sitting there going, I don't know, he might, that was, to me, that was the point that was the most tension in the match.
And what happened?
He didn't tap out. You were correct. But I thought, I had a little bit of hope there that AJ Styles would have made him tap with his own move.
I like the Hicks. I did too. That would have been great.
But either way, I would give this match 4 out of 5 stars. Not perfect, but definitely one of my favorite matches on the card.
I am with you on that. The one moment that I loved, probably, it was the ending. because John Cena hit another AA, and, you know, there's been numerous times, not even just against AJ, where he would hit like 2 or 3 of them and the match would not be over.
Right.
So I think they played it up to the point where he was like, you know what, I've done this before, let me just go ahead and hit another one. Like, so I kind of liked that moment, right? And the way he set it up, too, was awesome.
Are you talking about when he did 2, like, one right after the other, where he picked him up and did it again, and that was the end of the match?
Yeah.
I just thought the ending of the match was exciting because they were going move for move, and you didn't know what was going to work and what wasn't going to work. But yeah, like after the second AA, you kind of felt like, yeah, okay, that was it. They gave everything they had.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, like I've heard people, numerous people. I mean, you guys didn't see the match yet, but the main event of the New Japan pay-per-view, Okada versus Omega, was 10 times better. I've heard people say it wasn't just because the psychology was off, or it was outside the ring some, but there was no way that this match was better than that match. I recommend everybody should see that match.
Okay.
But, so moving on from that, I think we all enjoyed that match for what it was.
Yeah.
John Cena finally got number 16, tying Ric Flair. And,
yeah, I think he deserved it. He worked. I mean, I'm with Barry. I was never really a big John Cena fan, but he worked. They both worked that match. It was very hard, very impressive, and I'm all for it.
Yeah. So moving on from that, we have the Royal Rumble match.
Well, clearly we're not going to sit here and go through all 30 entrants, but I think we'll just sit here and go through our favorite spots.
No, we're not going to talk about any, nobody cares about Mojo Rawley.
Or Kalisto. I think that was a wasted pick.
Yeah, I agree. But,
I'm for Dak. That was great. Fucking had the umbrella, hit fucking Chris Jericho's nuts and then opened it, spinning around.
That was easily one of my favorite moments. I love Jack Gallagher as a character.
Yeah.
Because I think he is hilarious.
He is.
There was this one night on Raw where he was feuding with Daivari brother, who also happens to be named Daivari. And he comes out to the ring while he has a match, and he's like on the microphone, and he goes, I'm sorry to interrupt this match, but I just came out to let you know that I will be interfering.
Yeah, he's very polite English gentleman.
And he's like, and then he always says stuff like, get ready for a thrashing, or something like that.
He's an interesting character.
It's
Smashing.
But,
yeah. So, him as a character, and like, use the freaking umbrella on Jericho.
yeah.
That was easily one of my favorite moments of the match. And as we spoke earlier about NXT, and the number 10 entrant was the perfect 10,
Ty
Dillinger. And
That was great, too.
everybody kind of saw that one coming. But I was very happy for him because he has been in and out of WWE for years. He started in WWE in like 2005, and he made the main roster. He was on ECW with a different name.
I was going to ask, because I don't remember hearing the name Ty Dillinger before, so I was going to ask what his previous name
His name in
was.
ECW was Gavin Pierce.
Okay.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That rings a bell.
Nobody remembers.
I don't remember that at all.
No, I do. I used to watch ECW back then.
Okay, and do you guys remember a particular backstage segment with the Generation X where Shawn Michaels is kind of freaking out and just kicking a bunch of staff members?
You're going to tell me he was one of the people he kicked, aren't you?
Yes, I will. 'Cause he was the first guy. He was the first guy that got kicked. He was talking to a guy, and he's like, "Hey, what's your name?" "Stan." And then he just kicks him in the face.
Yeah.
And Shawn Michaels go, "See, I just kicked Stan."
I remember that.
That was him.
Yeah. Okay.
So he's had a lot
Remember
to
that,
deal with over the years, and there was one point where he left the company and came back. His NXT run has been very long. He was once in a tag team with Jason Jordan. Then he was by himself again with no character.
Yeah.
And then he got this character.
The perfect 10.
Working for him. He did not get a single win at any takeover that he was ever on. And that's fine, because neither did Tyler Breeze. I just hope that he doesn't get the same luck as Tyler Breeze.
You see, you got people in the Rumble like Kalisto, and then you forget about people like Tyler Breeze and Fandango.
Yeah, this is true. I mean, Kalisto really hasn't been doing anything at all.
Yeah, Mojo Rawley, I agree with you. Didn't need to be there. They could have put in someone else.
Yeah, I mean, and like Mark Henry hasn't been on TV in like 5 months, and he was in the Royal Rumble.
Yeah, I mean, I can see him being in there. They needed somebody to be like, oh my god, I never saw that coming.
Well, I mean, and I understand why he was in it, because his career's probably coming to an end, and the Royal Rumble was in Texas.
I see him retiring after Mania, just like there's talk of Big Show retiring after Mania.
Exactly.
But
Obviously, again, the strongest showing in the match goes to Braun Strowman, who had 7 eliminations, which Big Show was one of them.
yeah, they really needed him to have a big performance because they're trying to sell him to us as the new Big Show, seeing as Big Show's going to retire.
Yeah, they're trying to. They're trying to make another big dominant giant, and that's probably going to be him for a couple of years.
I mean, Braun Strowman, he's got the look. I'm a fan.
Now, the only thing is they actually give him a push.
I think they will, because if you saw Raw the next day, he was still, involved. I won't go too much into Raw. This is mainly about the Royal Rumble, but I think Braun Strowman. I think they're building him for a bright future.
Yeah, I agree. I think he's definitely gonna go somewhere. I'm pretty sure of that. Let's talk about Chris Jericho in the Royal Rumble.
Yeah, the new reigning longest accumulative time record holder for the Royal Rumble with 5 hours and something.
Yeah, for all time, he has like the most accumulated time in the Rumble.
Yeah, second being now Triple H, who he just beat the record for.
Yeah, and he also has the second longest single accumulated time in the Royal Rumble.
Okay.
With 61 minutes.
Yeah, that was hashtagging on Twitter. 61 Minute Man.
Yeah. Yep. And so he did not win.
Okay.
I was kind of glad because he really wasn't doing that much in the Rumble. So if he won, I would have been annoyed because mostly he was just ducking in and out.
Every time he attempted to do something, he got his ass kicked, and then he rolled out of the ring for another 20 minutes.
Exactly.
He took a lot of finishers in that match.
He did. I mean, Chris Jericho, he's a long time talent for the, he's a veteran of the company, so I'm not surprised they gave him some accolade like this.
Yeah, I mean, I actually wanted him to win because it would be the only thing that he hasn't done in his career that he deserves to get.
I wouldn't mind if he won and actually participated. Like, I understand he's that kind of guy. He's like the planner, he's the trickster of the company. But if he were to win and like have a good performance, I would agree with it. But I definitely wouldn't want him to win this time. I'm glad he didn't.
Well, all right. Well, going off of that, the person who did win,
Randy Orton,
and it was my prediction to win. Just saying.
I'm happy. I'm happy with this one.
I am very happy about it because I want to see this Wyatt family thing come out.
I like it just because they were smart. They didn't have to build a new story. They used one that was already going on. The fall of the Wyatt family. They didn't need to build a brand new one.
And I am 100% okay with that because
yes.
what they've been doing is, and I hope this is how it goes because this was my prediction from the beginning that. Ever since Randy Orton has been feuding with Bray Wyatt since, like, September. And, he faced him one-on-one, and then all of a sudden just decided, hey, I'm going to join the group. So my thing was that I'm convinced that he, infiltrated the group, and he's just going to cancel it out. Luke Harper's probably out of the group now. As we saw in the Rumble, he tried to give Sister Abigail to Bray Wyatt.
Didn't work.
Did not happen because Randy Orton was there. Bray Wyatt was a strong possibility, I think, to win as well if they're going in the route that we think that they're going. Which would be Bray Wyatt versus Randy Orton at Mania.
Well, now we need Bray Wyatt to win an Elimination Chamber in order to see that at Mania.
And I could totally see that happening, considering the Elimination Chamber match is for the title. AJ and Cena are in it, obviously.
Yes.
You know, put Bray Wyatt in there, put Luke Harper in there, and one other person, maybe Baron Corbin.
I like Baron Corbin. He's someone we didn't get the chance to talk about, but I'm just going to briefly say that I like him.
He also had a good showing.
He did.
I believe he eliminated Braun Strowman.
Right. So
Braun Strowman was being very dominant and he eliminated 7 people on his own, and then Baron Corbin comes in and eliminates Braun Strowman.
I just like the response to that. We've been asking what's the formula to beat Braun Strowman, and apparently it's one lone wolf. I don't know, I like that. So
yeah, that was a good line by Corey Graves. Yeah. So that worked out. And the last thing I think we should talk about the Royal Rumble, because we've probably been talking about wrestling a little longer than we should have in this week's episode.
We're going to eventually talk about something else.
Yeah. Well, the last thing I want to talk about is the number 30 entrant, which ended up being Roman Reigns. The problem that everybody is having is that should have been Samoa Joe. And that's fine, and I was on board with that. But I look at it like this. You don't put a big name like Samoa Joe in the Royal Rumble as a surprise at number 30.
If he's not going to win.
So I feel like they did the right thing. It could have been anybody else, but they chose Roman Reigns probably to troll the fans. I wouldn't be surprised. Vince McMahon does that. So Samoa Joe not being in the Rumble, to me, was okay. Because if they didn't want him to win, why put him in there? You know? He's a very big name to everybody. He's been in NXT for a little over a year now. You know? So for him to enter the Rumble at number 30 especially if you're going to make number 30 a surprise, then that should be the one.
Right.
So I'm happy with what they did, because if Randy Orton's the guy, why would you put Samoa Joe in there only for him to only be in the ring for 7 minutes and then lose?
If they were going to put Samoa Joe in here and lose, he would have to be involved with whatever rivalry is going to go on till Mania or even Elimination Chamber. But they seem, if you watched Raw, they have a different direction for him to go in right now, and I'm fine with that.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll see what happens with that. But all in all, didn't hate the Rumble match. Didn't love it. I thought it was good, but not great.
I think it's better than people gave it credit for, because I was on Facebook after the Rumble, and a lot of people were like, oh my god, I can't believe they picked someone like Randy Orton over the new guys, and I'm just like, it's smart.
See, that's another thing. Everybody is saying, like, oh, use the Royal Rumble to push someone new. That's when we got Money in the Bank for.
Yeah, Money in the Bank. Exactly. That's that pay-per-view.
That's what we got Money in the Bank for. Everybody's saying, like, oh, if they pick another repeat winner, I'm going to stop watching. First of all, no, you're not. And second of all, who cares?
I'm just going to throw this little tidbit out there. WWE seems to like to break a record every time we have the Royal Rumble now. If Randy Orton wins one more Rumble, I'm not saying it's going to be next year. I'm not going to say it's anytime soon, but if he wins one more, he ties Stone Cold Steve Austin for all time.
Well, you could say the same thing about John Cena.
You could, but now I'm saying like he's one step closer to that accolade.
You could say the same thing about Batista, but I don't think that's...
I don't know if Batista's coming back unless they want to push Guardians of the Galaxy too.
Well, yeah.
Or they want to give him a night check or something.
Yeah, I don't think they would ever make the same mistake with a Batista return ever again, but that's another topic for another time.
Right.
So, all in all, in my my opinion, Royal Rumble as a whole was a very good show. And people who were very upset with the Royal Rumble winner, I think we should get over it. Because Randy Orton is an amazing talent. Randy Orton is a great wrestler. And just because we had a repeat Rumble winner doesn't mean that other talents aren't going to get what they deserve down the line.
Oh, absolutely not. Like you said,
a lot of these newer talents that are, on TV now have a lot of time to go. Sami Zayn, for example. Sami Zayn is going to be around for a very long time.
And he was in the Rumble for a very long time.
Yeah, he had a great showing in the Rumble as well. We kind of didn't touch on him because he didn't really have a lot of big moments in the Rumble.
No, but he was there for a long accumulative amount of time. Like, he was there from number 8 till, I don't know, I can't even remember when he got eliminated, but he was in there for a while.
Yeah, it was like 25.
When neither Brock Lesnar came in.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think Brock Lesnar
So when it was 27.
Which burns my
When it was
ass.
27. Brock Lesnar was like 27.
Yeah.
Notice how we're not talking about Goldberg or Lesnar, because we don't care about it.
No, my only question coming out of the Rumble now is, what are they going to do with Taker? Who's going to face Taker at Mania? That's my only question.
Well, the person who eliminated him is Roman Reigns.
Oh, so you think they're going to do Taker and Reigns?
I do.
Okay.
Which burns my ass because there is no point in that match.
Yeah, the streak doesn't matter anymore.
Well,
Yep, it's gone. Him wrestling in general does not appeal to me anymore at WrestleMania. It's not even like a highlight match to me. Even though he's a good wrestler and all that, and he had his legacy was destroyed by Brock Lesnar. Which burns my... This, to me, is Brock Lesnar. A dead.
He's dead to you? He's dead to you?
person.
Okay.
Yes. And useless.
I agree.
All right. I doubt we're gonna have time to talk about the Super Bowl. We've been going on for a while now, but if everybody wants to quickly put in their picks, I think we're gonna call it an episode.
All right. So, well, I guess we'll talk about the fallout of the Super Bowl on next week's show.
Yeah, we'll probably talk about Super Bowl, even maybe do a mini book before the Super Bowl, but who knows?
Yeah. All right. So, I'm picking the Falcons to win because I hate New England.
Barry?
Falcons. Just because another team that hasn't won it before.
Across the board, I'm going Falcons as well. I like Matt Ryan. I want to see the Falcons beat New England. All right, guys, that's all the time we have today on the Multiverse Dungeon podcast. My name is Shawn Hicks, of course. Thank you guys for stopping by. You can follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. We have it all. Mike, Charlip, you have anything you want to say before we cut out?
You can follow me on Twitter at MikeJC821. Follow the podcast on Twitter at MVD_podcast. And you can find us on Facebook as well. So, Barry, what do you got to say?
Subscribe. Like, share, subscribe, do all that fun stuff, and fuck Brock.
Yes, fuck Brock Lesnar.
All right, I guess we're ending this with fuck Brock Lesnar. Go Goldberg!